Hi, everybody. This is David Siegel welcoming you to this week's SunCast. And first of all, I want to make sure that I say I hope everybody up here in Connecticut has gone through the storm. Everybody is doing well, didn't have too many problems. I apologize for us not having a SunCast for you last week, but I had no power for 4 days. So we're back, and it is a pleasure to talk to, for the first time on the SunCast, I guess you would say the most recent addition to the Connecticut Sun, and that is Briann January. Briann, thank you very much for taking time today in the midst of this crazy schedule, and welcome to your first SunCast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, I guess I really should say the undefeated Briann January, because you haven't lost a game yet, so you are the good luck charm.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I think we're 4-5 since I've been here in the bubble. It's just...
You don't tell anybody that part.
I know, right? Exactly. It's just been awesome, even just from watching our team from our first few games when I was still in Arizona to where we are now, and just seeing the growth. It's been awesome to be here and finally be able to be a part of the team and, add what I can to the team and watch us grow. It's been great.
Well, it was really interesting watching those last two games, the first two games that you played in. The fact that it truly is a case where, statistics don't tell the story of the impact the person has on the game. When Kurt had come here in the first place, he always talked about wanting to have a great defensive team, and things sometimes struggled a little bit that. But yesterday, especially down the stretch, with you and Jazz playing guard, and Dewana and AT and Brianna Jones, that was a wonderful defensive performance. And you are a star on defense. Can you talk for a second to how important that is to you, what that felt like having someone like Jasmine Thomas playing beside you now instead of against you?
Man, I mean, she's an elite defender, and I've always admired how hard she plays. But there's a few people in the league that really pride themselves on the defensive end, and she's one that's always done that. And to have her, to be able to play alongside with her is great, because it kind of takes some of the pressure off of me. In the past, I've always I've drawn the hardest defensive assignments, and now having her, we can trade off, we can switch, we can just communicate through all of that. It's really nice. And I think the biggest thing, you talked about that lineup last night, is just the trust. Those people are going to have your back. And even though I'm new to the bubble, I know these players, I've watched them play, I've played with Dewana, and I trusted them, and that really showed through.
It was really, really clear that just exactly what you were talking about, that there was definitely that, a synergy there between you guys when you were out there in that short period of time. So, definitely the practice time before you were able to play in a game certainly helped some. But so we are seeing Dewana on a day-to-day basis now for the first time. We used to see her only a couple times a year with us being in Phoenix.
Right.
She is a special talent, and you've played with her. So, can you tell our listeners a little bit about playing with Dewana and how she impacts a game on both ends?
She's a special player, and one that I don't think has gotten the recognition that she deserves, just from the way she's played. And some of that's because of, playing in Phoenix with a Diana Taurasi and a Brittany Griner. That's just a star-studded lineup in itself. So I don't know if some of that took away from what she was doing on the court, but now you're able to see it, and there's no hiding it. It's just her ability to, on offense, to get to the rim, to, rebound the ball, to spread the floor, hit the three, to penetrate. She's just a matchup headache for any team, trying to lock her down. And then on the defensive end, she's long, she's athletic, she rebounds the ball on the defensive end as well, and she's somebody you want on your team, and I'm so glad. She was one of the main reasons that I followed her up here, just the opportunity to play with her again, because I know what type of player she is.
And Kurt has talked about your experience as a coach and as a point guard, and how it's beneficial to him and to everybody else to have that, and how you've been able to share that. People talk sometimes about when they're not playing and they're watching from the side that they get to pick up on some of the nuances. Is that the case with watching the Sun in those first few games, and when you were home, picking up some of the things that you've been able to share and pass on to them that you've noticed, and things that can be adjusted and tweaked as you go on and play together?
Oh, definitely. You know, I mean, just being a coach, it taught me how to watch film differently, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Just certain things that I'm looking for, tendencies, trends, and things that have caused us issues, and knowing those things and watching them happen, that definitely allowed me when I got here to kind of watch for them and hopefully talk to my teammates and make sure they didn't happen again. But yeah, just it gave me an opportunity just to kind of see how we're playing, and our coaching staff was phenomenal when I was out, just sending me film, getting me up on our playbook, and showing me how they want us to play. So knowing how they want us to play and seeing how we were playing, I was able to just kind of see where we needed to grow. And when I got here, I came in and I'm trying to be vocal and help our team get to that point.
I mentioned at the start about you squeezing us in the midst of the schedule. I mean, this is some serious craziness this every other day. The off day, basically, all you can do is try and rest and read some film and get your body straight. But, this has to take you back to the WNBA finals, and before that, to NCAA tournament and Pac-12, Pac-10 tournament games. Were you in the Pac-10
right.
or 12? How old are you?
The Pac-10. I'm aging myself. The Pac-10. Yeah.
So this has to be, definitely something, as somebody that, shall I say, is more experienced.
There you go. I love that.
How difficult is it in staying sharp and keeping, your body intact? Now, granted, it's only been a couple games, so you've still got fresh legs compared to
right.
But this next week, just so people know, this is Saturday. We airing on Tuesday, so you'll have had your third game in 6 days by the time we've added this. So,
right.
What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, you could even take it back even further to like AAU days when you're playing. That's what it feels like on the body. But it's tough. But I do want to say, like, not having to travel, being able to get a full night's rest, it makes a huge difference. I mean, it's still a grind on our body, and our team is, our days are pretty much, like you said, like we're fitting everything in, and recovery is a huge part of all of our off days, just to do everything we possibly can to recover and be ready for that game the next day, whether that's massages, whether that's a pool recovery, whether, ice tubs, you name it, we're doing it just so we can be ready. But yeah, it's unlike anything. I was talking to Dewana today, and we were like, where was the season when we were 20-something? We have to do this at 30-some years old. But, our team is everybody's putting in the work. The players that aren't getting minutes, they're making sure they're staying in shape. They're in the gym the next day, getting their work in. Everybody's dedicated to just doing whatever they have to make sure our team is successful. So it's nice to be a part of that.
Well, if you really want to talk about being experienced, the internet doesn't lie. And I found that you were a guest of mine on Dishin' and Swishin' in September 2012.
Oh my goodness!
When you were with the Indiana Fever, getting ready for the playoffs. The reason I mention that is I want to bring up the Fever for a second, and the fact that the Sun has gotten so far to the finals. They've gotten very far in the finals, but you with Catch and the other members of the Fever went to the Promised Land.
Right.
What can you tell them? How often do you tell them? I guess is probably a better question about, this is what we did, this is how we get there, this is what you got to do?
You know, I don't allude to that team because I think we have a totally different dynamic, but I do stress the little things, and I think that's one of the reasons that we were able to win a championship. You know, on paper that year in 2012, we didn't stack up. You know, like we had Tamika Catchings, who I feel is the best player ever on our team. But after that, when you're comparing it to the Minnesota Lynx, you know, we came up a little short, but we did the little things and we played together and we minimized our mistakes. You know, we knew there was a small margin for error, and everybody was committed to, you know, getting those little things done. And so when I'm getting here, I've been stressing that, you know, whether that's something like talking, something as small as talking, or something as small as getting back in transition defense or rebounding. You know, those things make a difference. You know, those 2, 3 points, 4 points can, you know, change the outcome of a game. And if you can continue to build on those little things, the big things are possible.
Yeah, you mentioned everything that, you know, that Catch being one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. It's funny when I watch Alyssa Thomas, she is the only person that I've seen that seems to be able to rival Tamika in terms of on court tenacity and intensity all the time.
Oh yeah.
It must not be nice to not be run over by Alyssa now that you get to play beside her.
Let me tell you, I am grateful I'm not on the other side of that anymore. I've run into a couple of her screens too many times in my career. Like I said, this team has had the pieces, and they're right on the verge of getting over that hump. And yeah, I'm happy to be here and be on this side.
And especially if you can add Jonquel in to the future.
Oh, yeah.
Then that will make things great. I do have one light question for you. Is I really want to know, how does Kurt make sure he differentiates between you, Brianna Jones, and Bria Holmes, or do you all look at him when he calls?
Oh, he doesn't. It's just everybody's Brie, and we're just figuring it out right now. Luckily, we know basketball, so when he's talking about certain things, we know he's referring to you know, the individuals. So we're playing it by ear. You know, some days on January, you know, we're figuring it out.
It's a good thing you all play different positions.
Exactly. That's helping us out a ton. I couldn't imagine if we were all playing the same position.
Well, Briann, I want to thank you. I really don't want to keep you because, you know, like you said, there's little time and you get to enjoy whatever of it you can, please.
Right. Yes.
So thank you again for taking the time. Welcome to Connecticut. Last thing I'd like is, I know one of the things you were looking forward to, and you said right from the beginning, was playing before the Connecticut fans. And you've seen them so much from the other side with their intensity and how great they are. I'm going to give you a final opportunity to talk to our fans and tell them anything you would like to.
Oh man. Whew. I'm just thankful to be a part of this team and so excited to have the opportunity to play in front of you next year, and hopefully you guys stick with us. You know, we're growing this year. We're building the foundation for next year, and I think it's going to be something special. So, yeah, stay with us.
Well, Briann, thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you the rest of the season, and we're glad to have you on the sun and healthy.
All right, thank you.